All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to go back in time to what was, for many, one of the most turbulent years in modern history, 2001. It was a year that tested absolutely everyone, including the world's greatest investors. Today, we're tearing down Warren Buffett's shareholder letter from that year because it's a true masterclass in how to lead, how to be accountable, and how to find opportunity right in the middle of a full-blown crisis.
So for Berkshire Hathaway, 2001 was, well, it was a really, really tough year. The dot-com bubble had just imploded, the economy was officially in a recession, and of course, the world was just reeling from the attacks of September 11th. And for the first time in a very long time, Berkshire's report card had a big, fat, failing grade on it. But in classic Buffett style, he didn't even try to hide it.
And this right here is where the masterclass really kicks off. With this unbelievably direct, self-critical opening line, he immediately takes it all on his own shoulders. He doesn't blame the market, doesn't blame the economy, doesn't blame 9/11. Nope. He points the finger right at himself. I mean, that is what real accountability sounds like.
So just how bad was it? Well, here's the bottom line. A 6.2% drop in Berkshire's per-share book value. Now, that might not sound like a crazy number, but in real dollars, that meant the company's net worth fell by $3.77 billion. For a company famous for its relentless, steady compounding, seeing a number like this in the red was basically an earthquake.
But here's the thing you have to understand about Buffett if you want to understand any of this. It's all about his scorecard. See, he's never really cared about the absolute return in any single year. The real test, the one he's been using since his very first investment partnership back in the 50s, is all about relative performance. How did we do compared to the market?
And this is where that context becomes absolutely critical. So yeah, Berkshire was down 6.2%. It hurt. But now look at the broader market. The S&P 500 was down almost double that at minus 11.9%. So even though it was a losing year, Berkshire still managed to beat its benchmark by 5.7 percentage points. And in Buffett's world, that's how you measure success, when everything is going wrong. Now, this is the power of just zooming out. Forget about one bad year for a second and look at the long-term scorecard. Since 1964, Berkshire's book value had grown by, well, an almost unbelievable 195,000%. It's a number so huge it almost breaks your brain, but it really shows you how a single bad year is just a tiny, tiny blip on the radar. And just to put that in perspective, how did the market do over that same stretch? The S&P 500 returned a very, very respectable 4,742%. But when you put it next to Berkshire's number, you see the true scale of the outperformance. That 2001 dip, it was just a little stumble on the way up a massive mountain.
Okay, so what exactly went so wrong in 2001 to cause that loss? Buffett is crystal clear about it. The biggest single problem came from Berkshire's engine room, the insurance business. More specifically, it was one single catastrophic event that nobody saw coming, and it exposed a huge error in their thinking.
Now, to really get this, we have to quickly talk about something called float. Buffett's simple definition is perfect. It's money we hold but don't own. Think about it. You pay your insurance premium up front, but the company doesn't have to pay out claims until later. In the meantime, they can invest all that money, that float, for their own benefit. It's the rocket fuel for Berkshire, but in 2001, that engine backfired, big time, costing them a staggering 12.8%.
According to Buffett, being a successful insurer comes down to following three simple, non-negotiable rules. 1. Know what you're actually insuring. 2. Make absolutely sure that one single event can't wipe you out. And 3. Don't do business with crooks. Pretty simple, right? Well, in 2001, their subsidiary General Re broke the first two rules.
And this, right here, was the fundamental mistake. They were pricing their insurance policies by looking in the rearview mirror. They were looking at the experience of past disasters, hurricanes, earthquakes, you name it. What they completely failed to do was look forward at their exposure to totally new kinds of risks, specifically large-scale terrorism, a risk they were collecting absolutely zero premium for.
You know, Buffett even admits that he and pretty much everyone else in the industry knew this kind of risk was out there. So the failure wasn't in predicting it, it was in preparing for it. And he sums it up with this incredible line. He says, he violated the Noah rule. It's not enough to predict rain, you actually have to build the ark. He saw the clouds, but didn't build, and Berkshire got soaked.
But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. Buffett's response wasn't just about fixing the leak. Oh no. True to form, while everyone else was panicking in the chaos of 2001, he was already out there building new, stronger arcs for Berkshire's future. He was thinking counterintuitively and acting decisively when everyone else was frozen in fear.
I mean, this slide just says it all, doesn't it?
On one side, you have this massive crisis unfolding in the insurance business. But on the other side, you have Buffett taking this incredibly decisive, long-term action, using cash on hand to buy whole companies when fear was at its peak, all without watering down his existing shareholders' ownership one bit.
And we're not talking about small deals here. He was hunting for what he calls elephants. Shaw Industries, Johns Manville, Fruit of the Loom. And get this, for a story about commitment, the deal to buy Extra, a trailer leasing company, was set to expire on September 11th. While the markets were closed and the world was in chaos, what did Berkshire do? They calmly went ahead and closed the deal. Incredible.
But the letter wasn't just Buffett looking inward at his own mistakes. See, this was all happening at the height of the Enron scandal. So he used his letter as a platform to just unload on the corporate greed and terrible management that he saw everywhere he looked.
And he did not mince words. He was just disgusted by CEOs who were getting fabulously rich while their shareholders were getting completely wiped out. He pointed out how many of them were telling the public to buy their stock while they were secretly dumping their own shares as fast as they could. To him, that was the ultimate betrayal. He even used this sharp little anecdote that just perfectly captured the greedy mindset he hated so much. He tells a story about a CEO who gets granted any wish in the world. And what does he ask for? World peace? A better company? Nope. He asks to have his stock options repriced so he can get even richer after driving the stock into the ground.
And then he holds that up against the Berkshire way, which is a powerful lesson all by itself. He and Charlie Munger make sure their financial fate is tied directly, and I mean directly, to their shareholders. They don't take stock options. They don't take restricted stock. More than 99% of Buffett's entire net worth is in Berkshire stock. They absolutely eat their own cooking. They are true partners.
So as we start to pull this all together, what are the big, timeless lessons that we can take away from this incredibly difficult year? What did this masterclass in crisis actually teach us?
Buffett closes the letter with this beautiful, ancient quote from the poet Horace, and it's just such a powerful reminder that fortunes in business are cyclical. The giants of today can absolutely be the failures of tomorrow, and the companies that everyone has left for dead can be restored. It's a lesson in resilience and in looking for value where everyone else just sees a pile of ruins.
So what's the ultimate takeaway here? I think it's this. The true strength of a leader or a company isn't revealed during the easy years. Anyone can look good when the sun is shining. True strength is revealed when the storm hits. It's about radical honesty about your mistakes, an obsessive focus on creating value for the long haul, and just refusing to compromise your principles. Those are the things that last. And that really leaves us with a final question to ask ourselves, doesn't it? When the pressure is really on, when you have to make a choice, what actually defines success? Is it the short-term game of protecting this year's numbers at all costs, or is it the long game of proving your principles are rock solid, setting the foundation for the next decade? I think Buffett's actions in 2001 give us a pretty clear answer, and it's one that's just as important today as it was back then.